Enjoyed the first episode of Peacemaker Season 2. Was a really good first episode. Now I'm going to be going through the episode talking about things I liked, things I didn't, and some projections I have for the next episodes and what will happen next. So even before the show starts, the previously on the DCU segment was one of the most things that kind of clarified what was canon, what wasn't canon to James Gunn's and Peter Safran's new DC universe. And like James Gunn said, if it's talked about on the shows, talked about in movies, or shown on like these previously on segments, what was canon in the DCEU is now canon to the DCU. And really, the only two projects that will have stuff that is canon is the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker Season 1. So James Gunn inserted a deleted scene from Season 1 where Peacemaker said Green Lantern, which is probably the Guy Gardner version, even though we do know that Hal Jordan will be a bit more older and will probably be a bit more experienced of a Green Lantern in the Lantern series that's coming, I think, next year. That Guy Gardner had a thing for vomit, which was apparently a deleted scene from Season 1, which was a really cool way to insert a deleted scene from Season 1 that incorporates something, because apparently they just didn't want Green Lantern to be used in anything at the time, because Warner Brothers was developing their own Green Lantern thing. But probably my favourite retcon is that they swapped out the Justice League with the Justice Gang that had Mr. Terrific, who was cast in show. Same with David Corenswet's Superman, and Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion, who was in place of Aquaman from the original scene and was on set for the scene. Same with Hawkgirl, who is in place of the Flash. Supergirl, who was cast in Shadow as well. All five of them appeared in Superman. Now onto the episode of Peacemaker. Feeling rejected from the world, despite saving it from the butterflies. He was rejected from the Justice Gang. He isn't seen as a real superhero, and this is obviously setting up him going to a world that seems amazing, a world where he has a girl he has a crush on, his dad isn't resenting him or dead, brother is alive. Now I do believe that coming to the end of the series, we will learn that this world is not perfect and that it has some things that will come back to bite him, and he will eventually learn that the world he's in needs him and he can do more for it. But I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but I just honestly think the alternate universe's Peacemaker costume kind of looks ugly, and I think we already got perfection with the one that was in Season 1. John Cena's acting in this episode was really good as well. Now I'm just going to be going through the 11th Street kids, starting with Harcourt. We see her being rejected from every job she's applied for. That scene where she was being rejected from the NSA was a really funny scene, and it is showing that Amanda Waller, even though she's on trial for Suicide Squad, she still has some pull and can sabotage Harcourt's career. And it seems that Harcourt and Peacemaker slept together between Season 1 and 2, and Chris read a bit into that. The bar fighting scene was one of my more favourite fighting scenes in the episode, despite it not being the one with, I guess, as cool effect. But it's showing that she went to that bar basically just to pick a fight, and even though despite being bloodied up, this is what she wanted coming from the fight, and it kind of just shows the mindset and the place she's in, where she is so in needing of a purpose that she just needs to take her anger out in a way that only she really knows how to. And based on the trailer for the future episode, Harcourt will be getting an offer to work with Argus to hunt down Peacemaker, because Rick Flag Sr. obviously wants revenge on him for killing his son. That if she helps Argus, she'll get her old job back, which is going to eventually give her a bit of a struggle, but obviously we see that she will end up helping Peacemaker out. Vigilante, despite being one of my favorite characters from the Season 1, he only got one scene, but it was still a really good scene, and it looks like despite everyone having a pretty rough time since the end of Season 1, he seems pretty happy where he is at, which makes sense for Vigilante. Economos is still working with Argus and has been sent on monitoring Peacemaker's house, and that conversation with Rick Flag Sr. was very funny and probably was one of my more favourite bits of the episode. Probably something I'm looking more forward to coming up is Economos teaming up with Judo Master, because I think that's going to be one of the more funny dynamics that's going to come up. Adebayo is probably my least favourite member of the main cast, but it seems like she will be the main character that will be trying to bring Peacemaker Peacemaker back to the mainline universe. So I predict that we will have majority of the first 5 episodes taking place in the other alternate universe, and then the climax of the series will take place on the mainline universe, where the 11th Street kids will have to team up with Argus, despite Rick Flag seeing and not liking Peacemaker and all of them, from an invasion led by the alternate universe Augie Smith and Keith Smith, maybe because they find out that they're Peacemaker. And just to throw a cameo out there that I think will happen in the last 3 episodes, because from what I heard, the last 3 episodes are pretty spoilery, so you never know what's going to happen. But I'm pretty sure it will be one of the Creature Commandos in live action. I don't know which one. If I were to say which one I would like to see more in live action, I think Dr. Phosphorus would be a lot more fun to see in live action, but that's just who I think will be there. If we get more information coming up, I will change my prediction over the next couple of episodes, and I'll predict basically who this big cameo will be by the end of the series. So that is where I think the show will go. Now on to the more important topic, the intro sequence. Now before I go ahead, I will only include my thoughts on the intro sequence in this video, because I plan on making more videos on Peacemaker, but I don't want to feel like each video just goes over the same topic. Peacemaker Season 1 intro sequence was probably one of my favorite intro sequences in all of the superhero TV I've ever watched, but I do believe that this new sequence is not as good as the original one, despite it still being very similar vibe to it with the movements that they use. The song choice doesn't reflect the movements that they're doing as much, and it feels like they're trying to stick too much towards the season 1 vibe of the movements, whereas they chose a completely new song. It feels a lot more slow, so I felt like it could have been a bit more slower, the movements, and a bit less big arms and stone cold faces. But that's a bit where I see it. Other people might have other opinions with it, but I think it's pretty universally agreed that this. So I'm really hoping that season 3 of Peacemaker, if they do make it, will include a new intro where it's a lot more fun. But that is all I have. Thank you for watching, and do you agree with my predictions? If you have your own, comment them down below for what will happen in the rest of the season. Okay, anyway, goodbye. This is Movie Nerd signing off.